Sorry, we're closed.
Welcome back. Another show. Sorry we're closed. I am now on one battery for this show, for this thing. I should make it, though.
God willing.
And what I want to do, as I really liked last week's episode, Sean. I really liked last week's episode. A little less structure. And when I see in like the Full Send podcast, where I see Joe Rogan do Call Her Daddy, all the top podcasts in the world right now, they kind of just bullshit for like, they do it for like 3 hours, but they also have like Elon Musk on their show.
Right.
So, let's just talk some interesting things that I think people might be interested in hearing about us. And the thing I want to start with today is your time in L.A. Now, for those of you who don't know, you should know by now, but if those of you who don't know, Sean used to be a strength coach for the Lakers. He also spent some time as an intern with the Yankees and a Diamondback strength coach.
Correct.
And it's not a job that everyone gets or everyone even thinks they have the ability to get.
Yep.
And it can be correlated to other types of jobs, no matter what job you want in sports. You don't have to be a strength and conditioning expert, to want a job in sports. You could be a scout. You could be a scout. You could be a GM. You could be a bunch of different types of. There's a bunch of things. A video guy. You could be a bunch of different types of things in order to become, have a job in sports. So let's start from the beginning. If I remember correctly, I introduced you to Joe Giangrasso, who was the minor league, the low or short season ball strength coach for the Staten Island Yankees.
Correct.
Who R.I.P. no longer is it Ferry Hawk. The Yankees,
that's right.
Staten Island Ferry Hawks,
Ferry
like that now, yeah.
Not
and then you moved on.
Joe.
R.I.P. to Joe. He's not dead. We just haven't spoken to him in years. But then you moved on to the Diamondbacks. Was it the following year?
Yes, it was.
The following year, and you spent how many years with them?
4 years.
4 years. What's it like? So I know me and you have talked. Obviously, we're brothers and we live together. But being in, like, I didn't like the minor leagues, like as a player, and I'm trying to move up. You're trying to move up, which also people don't understand is that coaches, just like players, are trying to move up in the organization. They're not trying to. They're not like just cool with being the low A guy. Like they're trying to move up in the organization and become the big league pitching coach, big league strength coach, a big league pitcher in my thing. So all the focus is on the players, but everyone is trying to do the same thing.
Yep.
So you take me through that. You were in what was the first affiliate you went to?
So the first one I went to, we went out to Missoula, Montana. I was the strength coach for the Missoula Osprey.
What was that billboard that mom and dad talked about out there?
I'm going to guess it was the International Testicle Festival.
International Testicle Festival. Now, it's not every day you see that.
I was actually told that they have, like, this is crazy, but, like, they hang things, like weights from their testicles to see who has the strongest pair. That's one of the big events there.
I don't even know what to say about that.
I don't know if that's even true, but because I did not attend said festival, it did not strike me as something that I wanted to go. But yeah, you pull right out of town, out of Missoula, whatever that interstate is there, and yeah, there's this big yellow billboard, the Testicle Festival.
What is your favorite minor league story?
Man, I mean, I just have so many from all of those years of. Gosh, I mean,
the first one that comes to mind.
The first one that comes to mind is, so I used to do this thing when I was in my fourth season. I was the strength coach for the AA affiliate, the Mobile Bay Bears, and I was like comfortable at the time, like I was like. In my element, like I was there 4 years. I knew everybody. Like I was, the first year, like I was like tentative and stuff. But now I'm like super confident. And one of our special assistants to the general manager was none other than the big unit himself, Randy Johnson. And I was doing this thing where everybody who came to visit, like as you know in the minors, they send out the executives, the rovers, the coordinators. They send them out to all the different affiliates just to observe, make sure things are going smoothly, and I guess check out the talent as well. And Randy Johnson being one of those executives, he was one of the guys to come out and do this. And I was doing this thing that year uh, of measuring everybody's bicep in the organization. And I was like, we had like a little whiteboard in the weight room. We were going to chart like everybody who came in. It was like Mike Bell, like you have this, everybody, literally everybody coming through, GMs, assistant GMs, scouting directors, everybody got their biceps measured. And the big unit comes to town. And so our manager at the time was a guy named Robbie Hammock. And Robbie, we called him Hammer. He was the guy who caught Randy Johnson's perfect game. So he was like, there was a rapport there already. Like it wasn't like Randy isn't like the friendliest guy. He's a super nice guy, but he's not just going to be like the most outgoing guy in the clubhouse. And so we came in, so it was easier to get to know him through that. And I was like, we all called him Unit. So he said, Unit, man, like we do this thing, everybody who comes in, we measured their bicep. He's like 6'11". He's a skinny dude. So he's not chomping at the bit to have his biceps measured. So he kind of shrugs me off. I'm like, all right, it's Randy Johnson. I'll let him slide. He's going to be there for 4 days. We'll get him. And every day, like, Unit, we got to get your bicep. Unit, we got to get your bicep. Unit, we got to get your bicep. And he just kept blowing me off. And the last day, one of my favorite things to do, one of the cool parts about minor league baseball is at the end of the game, we all go to like the coach's office. We rip some beers. We're all sitting there in like our, compression shorts and our like t-shirts and stuff, just like after the game, ripping some beers. And I'm in there ripping a beer with Randy Johnson. Like you remember him from the cornfield games in MLB baseball, All-Star baseball on 64. So I'm in there ripping a beer with him. We're a couple beers deep. I'm sitting next to him and I just turn to him and I go, Unit, it's your last day here. I gotta get your bicep, man. And he goes, man, like you will not leave me alone about this. And I was like, we have gotten every single person to measure their bicep. It wouldn't be right if we let you leave without measuring the bicep. And he goes, he looks at me, he looks down, and he looks back at me and he goes, you're not going to let this go, are you? I was like, gotta get your bicep, dude. And he goes, all right, I got something for you to measure. And he stands up, reaches into his pocket, pulls out something from his pocket, puts it on the table, and says, here, you can measure this. And it was his Hall of Fame ring. And I was just like, damn, Randy Johnson just won the bicep measuring contest. Because that was badass. I was like, man, there's just no coming back from. There's no topping that. You are the guy. You got the Hall of Fame ring. Don't know why it's in your pocket, but it was like one of those moments where I was like, that's the trump card, dude. You won.
It really is. I mean, I've always wanted to be that type of guy. Obviously, I don't have that Hall of Fame ring. Don't think I'm going to get it anytime soon. The one story that brings to mind, and this was who I believe should be a Hall of Famer, but not. And it's a Barry Bonds story. And similar to that, he didn't do it to me, but we went out to Vegas. Every year they have that, and I think you remember this. Every year they have that like a Players Association meeting.
Yes.
Now, a lot of the young guys go because it's a free trip to Vegas. A lot of the older guys go. Some of them go for that. Some of them are actually there for a reason. And we go out there, and one of the days is a golf outing. So you play golf, and you end up playing with a couple fans, which I was always uncomfortable, which is so interesting to me. Let's talk about that for a second. As a Major League Baseball player, I was uncomfortable about playing with fans because even as a confident Major League Baseball player, we're still human beings. And I know that when you go into this, that you drew Pat Light and Ryan O'Rourke from the Twins, and they're like, oh, damn it. We had a chance at Bonds. We had a chance at Barry Bonds, and we got Pat Light.
Yeah.
So it's always like, although I'm playing at the highest level of baseball, I'm still sitting there being like, motherfucker, like I'm like I feel bad for these guys. Like it's
They're
now like I gotta
definitely
be extra.
yeah, they're definitely like pumped, but they get to that point where they're like they're like, oh yeah, we need to get Bonds, and then they like come back from the outing and they're like, oh no, they were like totally cool dudes, man. I
Yeah, they
can't
were
wait to see
cool
them play
guys.
this year.
Yeah, cool guys. Hopefully, and I'm sure they did enjoy like maybe following those guys' careers and be like,
Yeah.
"Whoa, what the fuck's Pat doing? Is he
Yeah.
good?" We're like, "Wow, that was terrible. He was not good at all." But it was always I always found that interesting because as a kid, you think the moment you set foot in the big leagues is you're a megastar, you're a superstar,
Right.
and it's just not the case. And even in those situations, like I'm uncomfortable playing with the fan because I feel as though they're disappointed and they drew me as their selection to play golf with.
I get you.
So it was a little uncomfortable. But regardless of that, Barry Bonds, we were taking a picture after this whole thing. And now, obviously, Barry Bonds, I never met Barry. I still didn't like shake the guy's hand or anything. But this is the first time I was around Barry Bonds. And I think the only time I was around Barry Bonds. And he is just like there's so much controversy surrounding this man. Like the only controversy Randy Johnson really had was he hit a dove with a ball or a pigeon with a ball and killed it on the spot.
Yeah.
Which is unbelievable luck, by the way. Statistically, that's like almost impossible to do. But it was like this guy that you're like, I remember being in our living room, back home and being like, every game was nationally televised and I'm running in from Dad's office because I heard he hit it.
Yeah.
And so I'm like running to go hopefully see the replay or something like that. And like just such a huge figure in baseball, regardless of the steroids. And I'm going in there and I'm like, I wonder how this guy is. I've heard he's an asshole. I've also heard from other people he's not. Like I don't really know who to believe. And I only had one very brief interaction with him. And it wasn't even necessarily with me. But we're standing there for the team, the picture of all the players that had showed up for this. And there's like a row. It's obviously groups of people obviously around. And one of my buddies who paid for the Twins that year, Ryan O'Rourke, was kind of standing in front of me. He's like a 6'3" guy, fairly big guy, but nothing crazy. And he's standing there, and Barry Bonds, coming in for the group picture, walks directly at Ryan O'Rourke, looks him directly in the eye the entire time he's walking at him. And then, without saying a single word, stands 1 inch in front of him, so Ryan O'Rourke is no longer in the picture. And I was like, Ryan O'Rourke does this, and I'm going to do it on. If you're watching the video at home, you get to see the exact thing. I'm standing behind Ryan O'Rourke. He goes like this, and like turns back to me, and it was like the most douche / baller / Hall of Famer / home run king thing to ever do.
Yeah.
It's just like, I don't know who you are, but I know you're not as important as I am, and I'm going to stand right in front of you so you either move or you're not in the picture.
Yeah, that's confidence right there.
That is confidence, my friend. And again, and that's something that a lot of people don't really understand is that in order to do what Barry did, in order to do specifically Barry Bonds, we'll talk about that, for example. You are literally built different.
Yeah.
Like there isn't much that phases you. Like to be that fucking good. Like you're playing, like it's almost like I've always thought about that. Like when I play like wiffle ball, and we're like kind of like throwing it in there. I was like, is that what Barry theoretically is feeling like at the plate? Like he's hitting 75 home runs in a year.
I mean, the ball just seems so like he just feels unstoppable. Like he's going up thinking like I'm definitely crushing this ball.
Yeah, like he's just so advanced that it feels like an easy game to him.
Ray Allen actually told me one time that every time he shoots it, he's like, that's 100% going in. Like every time he catches the ball, he's like, I'm going to like. There's no question I'm making the shot.
Yes,
and I was like, that's
and
the
something
difference
has to
between
go.
You and me. I was like, I hope I hit the rim.
And something has to go like, oh my God, I can't believe that happened. Like it's rare for something to happen where it's like, oh shit, that's why I missed that one. That's not going to happen again. I know that. Mm-hmm. So where like you're saying, you're just hoping you hit the rim. I'm just hoping I don't throw it past the catcher.
Yeah, they're like, I mean, there's like in their mind, there's zero question whatsoever that they are just going to absolutely demolish it. Funny, Robbie Hammer, who we had in Mobile. He's a catcher in the big leagues, and I asked him one time, I was like, tell me, what was it like? And he's like, the craziest one was when Barry Bonds came up, and I here comes Bonds, like I'm on the squatted down, ready to catch it, and he's like, he starts walking up, and I was just like, holy shit, like there's Bonds, this is him, right? And then he's like, he looks up at the pitcher, and the pitcher's like looking down at him for the sign, and Hammer's just standing there like staring back at the pitcher, and the pitcher's like, dude, what's the sign? And Hammer's just like, I don't know. And then the pitcher eventually like calls him out. He's like, he runs out to the mound. He's like, what's going on? He's like, I don't know what to throw this guy. I don't know what to throw this guy. Guy can hit anything. He's like, let's just go fastball away.
Oh my goodness, it's so accurate because
Yeah.
I can't imagine. I didn't play during the day. I don't know if you got from Hammond what the ended up being the scouting report on Bonds and what it was that you're supposed to throw this guy. But he could seemingly hit everything. And what people also don't understand, because I get it as a baseball player, and what we've got in scouting reports of Major League Baseball stadiums, is it's often thought of as the hardest place to hit a home run is AT&T Park out in San Francisco.
Yeah.
The wind blows in from the water. It's very gusty there, and they I had Dan Runzler, who you're familiar with as well as I am. Runzy would tell me that he goes back. We used to be in awe of what Barry Bonds did as pitchers, regardless of steroids. We're talking about Major League Baseball players saying we don't give a fuck that he was on steroids, because it was our thought process as pitchers playing at AT&T Park that you just throw it right down the fucking middle because there's no way they're getting it out.
Yeah.
It is so few and far between that guys can hit this ball out that you just do it. And so like I said, I am pro. I don't know about you, but I'm pro Barry Bonds in the Hall of Fame. I think that he should be in there because he was just such an amazing player. And it's really hard to draw a line as to who didn't take steroids, who did take steroids.
Yeah. I think if you get caught, like it's like you get caught, like you took the chance, you did it. I do think it's difficult in that era where it's pretty well documented that pretty much everybody was on it. I think that is tough, but at the same time, like you knew you were doing it, you knew you were taking the risk. So that is the deal. Funny, I got one more Bond story. I had a pitching coach in Missoula, actually, Doug Bochtler. I think he was the setup guy for Trevor Hoffman, and he went out to. He calls himself like 462 because Bonds hit number 462 off of him, and he said that like he went out there, he was going to face Bonds, and Bonds comes up to bat, and he's like, he gets the sign like fastball away, and he like dots the corner or whatever, or I think it was like slider or curveball away, so he hits it, dots the corner. Barry Bonds never takes the bat off of his shoulder, just watches it come in. He throws like ball one, and then he's throwing all like loops, like loop balls. He throws like another curve on the outside. He's throwing nothing but like change ups and off speed stuff, and he's like bat never comes off of his shoulder, and so he's just like, okay, we're gonna sneak. He's seen nothing but curves, nothing but off speed stuff. We're gonna pump the heat inside, like low and inside or something like that. He said we're just gonna rear back and throw it as hard as we can, and. He reared back, throws it right inside fastball. Bonds hits it like 500 feet. Trots around the base, comes back into the dugout after the inning, and he's pissed. Obviously, he gives up a home run. Thought he had him. I guess Tony Gwynn was in there just like dying laughing, and Bach, we call him Bach. He's like, Tony, like what the hell, like dude, like shut up, like I just gave up a home run, and he goes, man, did you really think you were gonna sneak an inside fastball past Barry Bonds? He's like, it was the only pitch he was looking for. It's like if you threw another curveball, he wouldn't even took the bat off his shoulder. You threw him inside fastball, he's taking that out to Jupiter, man.
And that's exactly what we talk about when we're talking about guys built different. And this is what you learn. The toughest guys. I remember sitting behind home plate, and I think I've told this story in one of the podcasts. I've told this 10,000 stories in my life. But I remember sitting behind home plate. I tore my hamstring in 2013 in Greenville. And I remember sitting behind home plate waiting for the doctor to get done with the big leaguers and the game to start. So I had to wait a couple innings into the game before the doctor was ready to see me. And I remember sitting there, and I think if I remember, I don't remember I think the name was Lance Bergman or something like that.
I know that name.
Lefty from Houston Astros.
Yep.
And I remember he was facing John Lackey. And he took like 2 pitches right down Broadway, like fastballs. And John Lackey was not an overpowering man by any means. He was actually just, and I can tell this story very quickly, he was down in spring training pitching against the young guys because he was one of those guys that stayed back, needed an extra day to get on the 5-day for his starts. After, I think he's held back a little bit, but he just got finished down there, and he got lit up by minor leaguers. And as you know, this often happens down there with big leaguers facing minor leaguers because it's the minor leaguers' biggest at bat of their lives to that point in their career. And they're ready to rock and roll. And the big leaguers literally just trying to get through things. And let's work on some stuff here. Funny enough, John Lackey, super competitive guy, really nice guy, but super competitive guy, just absolutely motherfucks the minor leaguers on the mound because they're swinging at every first pitch fastball. He's like, I'm out here trying to work on shit, and you guys are just hitting doubles off the wall because you know first pitch fastball's coming. So if I'm John Lackey, I'm probably telling the minor league staff early on, being like, "Hey, let's work at bats here. Let's get in. Don't just swing at every first pitch. I don't mind if some guys do it, but let's really try to work at bats here. So just watch these guys and tell them what to do. If you've seen a couple first pitch takes or swings, maybe do that." John decided to just motherfuck everyone, but he gets out there and he's throwing the same type of stuff, but he's getting big leaguers out constantly. And I remember talking to some guys about it, some higher-end guys, some coaches, because all the coaches usually have played in the league, and talking guys through that as far as pitching and how you're going after these guys. And the one thing that always came up was some of the best hitters in Major League Baseball, not all of them, but you're looking at these really, really fucking good Major League Baseball hitters, is they don't care how many strikes are on them. They don't care how many balls are on them. They don't care about the count. All they care about is the exact pitch that they're looking for. And they're looking for one pitch, one spot. And if they get it, you're fucked. If they don't, you're fine. And that it's a chess match to try to figure out what pitch it is they're looking for.
Right.
And Dan Runzler, another guy who taught me this, and this is some pitching analytics for you guys listening or watching this. There was one particular pitch that he said that us hard throwing guys, Dan earlier in his career was an upper 90s guys from the left side, really good guy, has 2 World Series rings with San Francisco, and he would say that, hey, listen, you throw an inside fastball hard as shit, just do it early in at bats a lot. If you can utilize that pitch, if that motherfucker turns on that and hits that down the line foul, because a lot of them will be foul early on, if he does that, he can't hit the outside corner because he's given up his tell immediately because he can't cover inside and cover away. It's impossible for him. So the moment if he turns on that, that's what he's covering and that's what he's looking for. Go fastball away. It's a free strike. Never swing on it. And it got, dear God, every single time I did it, I wasn't a great control guy, but when I was able to utilize it, every single time I did it, the guy took the pitch outside. It was a free strike. And it was unbelievable because you're starting to see, rather than guys up there looking for like curveball or different counts looking for different pitches, you're starting to see a very advanced version of the chess game that is pitching and hitting. And I think this is where a lot of guys, and why you have not to shit on Major League Baseball, but why you have a lot of these deeply not analytical, but almost like marketing metrics of trying to be like, well, we need to speed up the game. We need to get a faster game so people are more into it and stuff like that. And for guys like me, it's like, it falls on deaf ears because like, I love the chess match. I love seeing, all right, the guy just threw a fastball up and the guy bit on it and you could see he was a little upset. The moment you see he's upset, you don't go back to that pitch because in his head, he's like, look for the ball down. You shouldn't have swung at that. Now you go curveball starts down and breaks on the dirt. He's swinging at that pitch because that's what he's looking. He's looking ball down, ball down, ball down, ball down. He sees it down. He swings at it. It's a strike. So it's things like that really allow like people like me to really enjoy the game. And then we're talking about guys being built different. These are the types of things we're talking about. Barry Bonds being able to do what he does, and that's super, super competitive, ultra, like, I am the fucking best player in the world. It doesn't matter what you do. I'm going to sit here with the bat on my shoulder until you give me the pitch that I want.
Yep.
If I walk back on 3 pitches, you threw 3 straight curveballs over the plate, sure. But if I'm going to sit here, and if you throw that inside fastball, it's gone. You've lost.
They must
do not try to do that.
They must feel like I feel and likely you feel when you go play basketball at LA Fitness. And it's just like a bunch of scrubs, people that don't play. Like I remember going there all the time and like just like mopping floor, and I'm literally walking around like I'm LeBron James. And then every once in a while, like somebody comes in, and it's like, yeah, this guy played at like Akron, and I'm like, "Ugh, okay, oh jeez, like.
He has some basketball knowledge.
Yeah, okay, I go, okay, we gotta try now. And now I'm
Yeah.
like rattled, right? And it changes my mindset. And they must always feel like they're playing at LA Fitness.
Yes. And then when they get up and they see, when Barry's facing Randy Johnson, it's like, all right, let's go, motherfucker.
Yeah.
Let's have some
and
fun
they
here.
Want that. They want
Yes.
that as opposed to like I would always get like nervous, like, oh, this guy's like on my level here. Like, okay,
Yes.
I can't just do whatever I want now. But we'd always get those guys like in basketball, especially. I'm sure it's in baseball too, but basketball that just didn't care. They were like it didn't matter who was guarding them. They were going to do all the same crazy stuff that they always do. And those are always the guys that didn't really change their level. And I think that's kind of like why like you see guys who are like really good at practice, but in games they shy away from it because it changes their mentality, and that's tough. That's tough.
Yeah, it is because it's different. It's different. Just from a purely psychological standpoint, when I was throwing bullpens, when I had control issues, I didn't have control issues in the bullpen.
Yeah,
That was great. It was fantastic. Threw all strikes. It was great. It was a fantastic. Everyone's like, oh, this is great. He's back. No, I wasn't, because then you get on the mound, and I was a hitter there. The fans are watching. It just changes your mentality. And when you're talking about, I've come to terms with my own career because, my psychological, regardless of, maybe a coach could have helped me here if he didn't do this or that. Maybe I could have helped myself here if I didn't do this or that. Maybe I'd be able to extend my career. But I just wasn't built, in my opinion. At least I wasn't maybe not mentally mature enough there at that point in my life to be able to handle that adversity and be like, I don't give a fuck.
right.
I've thrown strikes my whole fucking career. Why I can still do that? Of course I can. No, I'm sitting out there thinking about, I need to throw strikes. And it's like it is different mental tweaks that try to get you on track in order to be able to pull that there. But I talk about Mookie Betts all the time. Mookie Betts was terrible in short season. He couldn't hit. He went over from shortstop to second base because we drafted Devin Marrero in the first round the year that I got drafted by the Red Sox. That didn't pan out. Mookie Betts is, amazing. Devin's still, bouncing back and forth between teams and stuff like that. But, Mookie Betts, didn't care. He's been in slumps now at points in his career. Doesn't care.
Yeah.
He's Mookie Betts. He knows he's great. He knows
That
he's
is for
fantastic.
sure.
And he's a guy that, it doesn't matter that he goes on a slump. I'm going to get out of this.
That's
I'm
what
fantastic.
that's what people ask me all the time. Having been a strength and conditioning coach in professional sports, and I've been in big league weight rooms, been in NBA weight rooms. I mean, it's a really cool experience. And then people ask me like all the time, like, what's the difference? Like, who are these guys? And I'm like, yeah, definitely in basketball, these guys are freaks. Like those guys are really freaks. But the biggest difference, the thing that stands out the most, is the psychology of these guys. They don't act anything like you'd expect. Every single person that I talk to, they're under the impression that these guys are like titans of hard work. And it's not that they're not titans of hard work, but their mind just operates differently. Like if you talk to any professional sports strength coach, there will like there's always the like laugh. Like we always have the laugh of like dealing with these pro guys. Like this some guy will be like, yep. I've had guys. I'll be like, I've watched high level, like famous NBA guys, famous Major League Baseball guys. Since I don't really like the Astros very much, Alex Bregman, I watched him just straight up, like, not doing that. Like his coach was like, yeah, we're gonna do a deadlift. He was like, how many times do I have to tell you that I'm not gonna do this freaking deadlift? And I'm like you just see that, and but the thing is like from the outside, people are like, oh my god, what an asshole. But in the professional strength and conditioning world, like we know that's the deal. Like we know that guys are going to tell you no. I had Lou Williams come up to me like my first day with the Lakers, and Lou was like, hey, you're the new strength coach? I was like, yep. He's like, just so you know, I can count on one hand how many times I've lifted in my 12-year NBA career. And I was like, well, it's nice to meet you. Like this is really normal and it's really common. And I think that's the thing that people don't understand the most. The biggest performance enhancement for these guys is not caring about performing in front of 20, 40, 50,000 people. Performing a task in your driveway is one thing. Doing it in front of 50,000 is completely different. And I mean, we had the data on these guys, and their metrics were not altering in pressure situations as it would for other people, for normal people. And to do that, you have to be a little different. You're going to do different things. You're going to curse out a minor league player. You're going to tell a coach absolutely not. You're going to, and look, you see crazy shit. You see players do things that you would never do in a million years, but it's these I worked with Jordan Hill for the Knicks, and that guy, I mean, I saw him do the most wild shit, and it's like, what? What are you doing? But that's just the way they operate, and that's the thing that gives them the ability to perform in front of people in that pressure situation. People say, like, why do you act like that? Why do you spend all your money? But that's the asset that they have that allows them to, not in the real world, but in pro sports, it allows them to perform at a really high level, not get nervous, and be confident, zero in, be an assassin on the court. That is the thing that people don't understand, is it's the psychology of these guys that is really, it's on top of incredible,
Yeah.
they're incredible
But once
athletes.
you get, as you say, once you get to the NBA, once you get to MLB, most guys, MLB a little bit different than the NBA, but once you get to the top level of your field, everyone is very talented.
I mean, how many
We're all
guys in the
talented.
minor leagues did you see with just nasty shit and they couldn't do it? They like you would see guys with like you see like a 6'7" friggin' dude for the Blue Jays AA or single A that would just throw a freaking changeup that drops off the face of the earth, but he never sees the light of the day in the big leagues. And I see so many guys with like crazy stuff that never saw AA.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't see guys with crazy stuff. I didn't see AA, but the once you get to a certain level, everyone is very talented, and the difference maker is the psychological part. And I have almost like 3 levels, because at certain times I was good, I was great, and then I was bad. And the 3 differences that I saw always was, when I was bad, I was nervous to go out there.
Mm-hmm.
When I was good, I didn't care. I was going out there. I was thinking about exactly what I was wanting to do, and whatever was around me didn't matter to me. I was just, this is what I was here to do. This is what I was going to do. When I was really good, I was excited to go out there. Like, I remember a specific time. Where one of my guys on my team was on the mound in like the 8th inning. I was like the closer. This is one of the times when you were saying that I was the best closer in minor league baseball. And I'm sitting out there in AAA, and I know my guy's struggling, and I'm sitting there warming up, being like, just get me the ball. I will take care of this for him. Like, just get me the ball. I'll handle this. And I did. I went out there, and I absolutely dominated. And because I was excited to go out there, I was like, all right, you're fucked now. You fucked my boy. I'm coming in. And like, it was that excitement that did that. And I think, and this is where, not that I'm giving advice to young kids, but like, when people see, like, we talk about where we're talking about, like, a lot of people think that's just volume, like, do a ton of reps, do a ton of this, do a ton of that, and they see guys like Kobe who were like that. They did things like that. But the thing is with Kobe and any of those guys is them doing that they may not even know it. But what's the advantage of them doing that is psychological. They feel ready. They feel like they did the work. They feel like they're ready to go do what they need to do in order to get to the highest level. And although the reps may have not necessarily helped them all that much, I mean, what's the difference between 500 shots and 600 shots? Probably not all that much. But when you feel like you're prepared for the game, just like when, we talk business in our world now. Like, when I'm feeling overwhelmed in my business, I go down. I don't know where the book is right now, but I have a book that I have. Like, I always write my to-do list for the day if I have stuff to do, and I just need to start checking things off. And I have everything down. And I'm like, okay, this is how I fix my problem. This is why I'm feeling anxious right now. And I just check things. I was like, okay, I knocked that off. And even if it's small things. And I saw Salkio Bloom, who that I'm big on, and I like the way he operates. A lot of the times he'll just say, and a lot of big guys will say, start off the day with a couple small wins. And it just starts the snowball of bigger and bigger wins throughout your day. And again, it's similar to that. It's like when I felt prepared to go into the game, I was locked in. I was ready. I knew what I was doing. I knew what kind of guy I was, and I was going to go out there and I was going to dominate. And when I didn't feel prepared, things changed. Like when I pitched against the Angels, my most famous game that I've ever pitched, the fans didn't bother me. I didn't care. We make jokes about it all the time. It wasn't relevant to me what the fans were doing. But the way that like I wasn't there being like I'm gonna come in and save Robbie Ross's ass right now. It was different. Like I wasn't coming in being like I'm about to face Mike Trout and Albert Pujols. Every time I tell that story, I'm like, shit, really? That's who I'm rushing in for? Like I get it, but fuck, guys, you could have given me a little heads up. Hey, we're probably gonna have Pat come in and take Trout, so have him loosen up. If we start getting close to it, maybe go. It was no, we need him now. Mike's next. We didn't prepare for this earlier. I've always told guys that like, I can tell you, what helped me get to 100, but I probably have it in the tank already. I might be able to figure out if you have it in the tank, but that's pretty much it. I'm not going to put it in the tank for you.
Yeah.
And it's like you get to these levels, and the difference maker always is psychological. I talk about it in business. When I'm doing all these things, I'm very risk adverse. When people come in, like I don't mind taking my bank account to zero. I just don't. That's just who I am. I've been successful, so I probably have that little bit more confidence in myself. But that's who I am. Like how many people are willing to take their bank accounts to zero to put it into a business and hope that it makes money? Not many. But I'm willing to do that, and it's the psychological portion that's going to get me to that next level. Whereas more people like stability, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with people liking stability. Stability is nice, but I'm just I'm as a lot of my business partners say, I'm a fucking lunatic. I'm always trying to. I'm actually having real conversations with people to try to buy an MLB franchise. Fun fact, guys, I don't have enough money to do that. I ain't even close. But it is just, it's who I am, it's how I'm built, and that's why I think business is probably more where I was meant to be, and baseball was a stepping stone to that, rather than I was meant to be a Hall of Fame baseball player, and it just didn't work out.
The interesting thing about business versus sports, and I think this is the correlation, this is what I always hear from like the greats, is that what people always want to know is how to do it, right? So when people ask you, how do I make the big leagues? How do I throw harder? How do I do X, Y, and Z? And in business, the same thing. How do I get more customers? How do I charge more? How do I market better? And the answer is never the how. And I forget exactly how they phrase it, but it's like, it's not about how do I do it? It is who must I become? It is like, what kind of psychology do I need to have? And what's nice about business is that you can fake it. If you're not really confident, you can still say the words. If you're not really confident, you can still make the decision, right? Even if you're like, oh boy, right? The thing with sports is that you can't fake it. If you're nervous out there, we're going to find out real soon. If you are not confident in this pitch, we're going to find out real soon. And that's what it was always so interesting to me about sports, especially as I, navigated from minor league baseball to the NBA and up the ladder. What I found to be the big difference maker was neuroscience. And as you know, like I went incredibly deep in studying the brain. And like that was like, that was the thing. And in sports, like, you are who you are. You're going to go stand out there on the mound in front of 40,000 people, and we're going to learn what's going on in here. If you got it or you don't.
Like that.
Yeah. We're like, immediately, we're going to be able to see. You can't hide. We're going to find it. You're going to see it. So that's where you had to curate and train the brain accordingly so that when they went out there, they could do it. Like in business, like I've gotten a lot of times where I've stood up in front of a room and I was going to sell a product, and I was like, I can't believe I'm doing this. I tripled my price last night just because I felt like it was cool. Like who the hell's going to buy this? You know what I mean? And like you just like, and I remember like thinking about it and be like, here it comes, I'm gonna say it, $500. But like I still say it. And it's like you just stand there in your head, you're like, and yeah, in front of everybody, you're just like, yep, that's what it is. And in your head, you're like, who would ever buy this?
That is business in a nutshell. And so I don't forget, Sean, and I know, guys, we haven't really talked the way we usually do, but this is really the way I want this direction of this podcast to go. But for right now, just so you guys are aware, and as you always know, we are starting football season here. And Sorry We're Closed is brought to you by my friends over at WynnBET. WynnBET is bringing the excitement of Wynn Las Vegas to online sports betting. Whether you're a recreational player or a serious handicapper, WynnBET is your ticket to every exciting wager, from straight bets to parlays, teasers, and any exotic proposition wager you can dream up. Sign up today. Use promo code XSWC1, and after placing your first $100 wager, you will receive $100 to bet with. There is also a $50 casino bonus for those in New Jersey, and Michigan, not New York. And again, the promo code is XSWC1. There's no better way to enjoy sports than with some extra winnings in your pockets to use for all your favorite bets. Betting is a team sport. Join the WynnBET team and bet with the best. Offer subject to change, terms and conditions at WynnBET.com. Must be 21 to participate. Only available Arizona, Colorado, Indiana, Louisiana, Michigan, New York, New Jersey, Tennessee, and Virginia. That might have been my best one of all time.
I was actually, when you started, I was like, oh, he's good at this one.
Yeah, I got that one locked in. I'm trying to become a better public speaker. Not public speaker. I give two fucks about giving public speeches. I'm trying to just become a better orator. Is that how you say that, Sean? Orator. Okay. Most people don't. I actually probably do know this because you guys have heard me on social media for forever. And I'm not a wordsmith by any means. I oftentimes miss things. What were the three things we were making fun of me yesterday? Going to a bisque. I thought it was a
bisque, wide receiver corpse, and hunger pangs.
Yes. That's very quick because I want to get back into the discussion we were just having because it was really good. But am I the only one that thought it was hunger pains? Pains?
You're definitely not the only one.
I can't be.
No.
I can't be. It's pangs.
Hunger pang. P-A-N-G.
Okay, let me ask you this. When did you learn that? There's no way you fucking 5 years old. You're like, oh, yeah, I have hunger pangs.
What probably happened was I heard enough people do it, and I'm like, are they saying pangs? And I Googled it. That's probably what happened. I don't remember doing it, but I'm almost certain that's probably how it went down. All
right, well, maybe we'll make a TikTok out of this because that's out. I still can't believe that. I'm still blown away by that. But yeah. I oftentimes, guys, fuck up words. That is just who I am. So it is what it is. I now live with Sean, who is an actual public speaker, and his girlfriend, who is a journalist for Fox. So I have, she's on the thesaurus, which is still one of my all-time favorite moments in The Office.
Yes,
is when it's a part of The Office where Pam's going into labor, and Oscar has become quite one of my sneaky favorite characters on the show, and Michael Scott yells from his office, "Should he bring a dictionary?" And who the fuck would bring a dictionary for this? And Oscar just throws out of left field, "The hospital provides a dictionary. Bring a thesaurus." I like the third time watching this episode, I caught it and I absolutely loved it. And I talk about it every time it comes up.
Oscar's a sneaky character.
Oscar's a sneaky character, just like Ross Geller was a sneaky character.
Oh, nobody's better than Ross.
I'd rather not. I'm carrying a little extra holiday weight right now. But going back to what we were discussing after Ross Geller, it really is, and we obviously just went on a whole rant about the psychological portion of all of this, which is just so important to, whether, like I said, whether we were trying to get a job in sports. Like it was unheard of for a AA strength coach with 3 years experience to all of a sudden become the assistant strength coach for the Los Angeles Lakers. That was unheard of. It's not unheard of, but it's rare for a Major League Baseball player to have a shit career and then go on and do great things in business. I just saw today about a Kobe Bryant investment in what did he invest? He invest. Gosh, I'm going to forget the company. We all know the company though, but he did like a $6 million investment that turned into like $400 million now.
Body Armor.
Body Armor. That's it. And it's rare you see these guys that have the mind to go do this in business as well. I think that my mind is built better for business than it was for baseball, but who knows? Maybe I would have competed a little bit better if my issues popped up in my 30s rather than in my mid-20s. But there's the separator always, and for people that are listening to this podcast that have kids, or you are a child, you're a high school kid or middle school trying to get to that next level, whatever that next level might look like for you. The psychological portion of this is just being ultra, confident in yourself, which is, I don't even know how you would go about doing that. Either you have or you don't.
You hope for the best. The way that the brain is organized is like the way that I will let my kids go through the sports world. is number one, have fun. Like having fun is the number one way to confidence. There's actually some really cool stuff happening in Norway right now where they don't keep score early on in like their career until they get to like 6th grade when the brain is fully developed. And like, yeah, like I know you got like the every kid gets a trophy generation. I get that. But when they're talking neuroscience over there and showing like this is how the brain develops, like you start associating your sport with fun and confidence and enjoyment and pleasure. And then when they get to that competitive age and they've kind of locked those connections in, now their ability to perform is significantly higher because the brain isn't fighting it, which is a major problem for 99% of the people who play sports, and especially the people who take it like really seriously early on. So because they don't do that, they're helping the brain. And if you look at the medal counts in the Olympics for Norway as this program is advanced, it's incredible. Like they're competing in like summer games with the big dogs, and they're attributing it to this program. So it's really interesting how they've done that. But my kids, it's like number one, top priority is fun. In the back of your mind, you're like, and having, I'll say this, I worked my ass off my entire life. I'm a good basketball player. Played Division I, and I thought when I was going to go to the NBA that I would be jealous of those guys. My whole life I wanted to play the NBA, and I went there. And my first practice, I watched Julius Randle, 6'8", 240, cross this dude up at half court and just run down and crush a dunk on one of our 7-foot centers. And I was like, I never had a chance. This is ridiculous. These guys are unicorns. It's unbelievable how good they are. So first of all, like the real true odds of you having the talent is next to zero. Forcing your kid, playing 3 AAU teams and travel ball year round ain't gonna even come close. Ain't gonna even come close to doing anything remotely close to like propelling you to the big leagues. Like if you don't have that, you ain't developing that, period. So number one, you got to have the talent. Number two is like let them have fun, and number three is just like don't overdo it. Like the best athletes are the people who play all the different sports. And like my kid, if I can help it, they're not going to play on a million different travel teams. I'm not playing them up a division. I'd rather them play down a division and think they're the greatest thing since sliced bread. I'm not rushing them to all the best kids who were the best players in 3rd grade, 5th grade, 8th grade. They never even finished playing high school. It's the random guys who like came out of nowhere, who developed a little bit later. Like those are the guys. So like, it's just, you're not going to be able to force your child to work their way into the big leagues or to the, like literally, like almost exactly 0% of them got there by that. All I can say is that you would just be absolutely stunned at what you saw inside of a major league or an NBA weight room.
Yep. Listen. There is a statistic, and we talk about this, and this is for all you parents out there, or soon-to-be parents, or people that want to be parents, any of those parents.
Just humans.
People. There have been, when I was playing, I remember the statistic was there was just north of 20,000 Major League Baseball players in the human existence. Now, let's say Major League Baseball started when? In the early 1900s. So, like, let's say it started in 1900. And let's just say, well, you won't even use that there's players from other countries. And let's just say at one time, we're not even talking about in all of the 116 years that took place in that time period. Well, let's say at one time, there's 350 million people in the United States at one moment?
Yep.
20,000. I don't know the math, Sean. And I am no mathematician, but I'm pretty good with numbers. 20,000 into 350 million, not great odds that your kid's going to make it to the big leagues. And that's just stepping foot. And I've said this statistic before. Keep pressing zeros, Sean.
It is 0.00005%.
0.00005%. And that's just at one time. The statistics are far worse than that. Because that's just at one part in the U.S. We're talking about the last 116 years, how many humans existed in the United States. And that's just calling in the United States. There's been players from Mexico. There's been players from Colombia. There's been players from the Dominican Republic. There's been players from Puerto Rico. There's been players from Japan. I don't know if there's been from China because I don't know if we have a great relationship with them. But there's players from Korea. There's players from everywhere.
Yeah.
And we're just talking about the United States. Your odds of stepping foot in the big leagues are so rare. And we were talking about just from professional base, or let's talk about college athletes, college baseball players. 1% of those people get drafted. 1% of that 1% step foot in the big leagues. And then 1% of that 1% plays a full year, has a full year of service time in the big leagues.
I also noticed when I was in the minors that every kid who came in from like Virginia, Texas, UNC, like those guys were terrible. Like those, like literally like the worst players on the team. It was always the guys who came from like Franklin and Marshall that was just coming and throwing for absolute fuel, and you're like, damn, who is this guy?
Yeah, it was certainly different. Like I remember like when I played at Monmouth and going to go play against Virginia, I just thought every guy on that team was better than me. I was throwing 100. But I was like, these guys are fucking good. And then I'd go play against. It's like amazing when you get put on the same playing field and you don't know where they came from, and like they're in the order. And I was like, I faced an all SEC lineup today, and I absolutely ran through them.
Yeah.
And it's because like I no longer, again, we talk about psychological. I no longer psychologically told myself that these guys are better than me, and I need to have my absolute tippy top game in order to even remotely compete with these guys.
Yep.
And it's just the way the world works. And you again, I'll say it. I've said it from the rafters. I'll keep saying it through my megaphone. The psychological difference is what the big difference maker is. There's a lot of talented people out there. I was one of them. I didn't have the psychological makeup at the time in order to combat the shit that I was going through. I just didn't. I didn't. It wasn't there. I tried. I'll tell you guys, I tried. I remember after my career, I went and worked out by myself in an empty facility so that I had no eyeballs on me and I could just work on throwing strikes. And my thought process was I'd work my way up to throwing in front of people again and against hitters. It just never really worked out for me. I just didn't have it in me anymore. I didn't want to. You know, I got offered to go down to Florida to try out for an independent ball team. I was like, you know what? Nope, not doing that.
Yeah,
I'm done. I have no interest in any capacity to go do that. Even guys like, the guys I play with, I mentioned Devin Marrero, so I'll stay with him. I saw he just got called up by the Mets. I don't know if he's still up, but I don't even have any interest in doing that.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to do that anymore. Like the stress that I went throughout my career and in the off season and then into the season and just trying to the highs and the lows and all this shit. Honestly, guys, it wasn't worth it to me. And I'm doing better in my life now, and I'm enjoying my life way more. So, I'd much rather the life I live now, and I've said that a couple times now recently. But one of the reasons I enjoy my life so much more is because I'm on WynnBET. WynnBET is bringing the excitement of Wynn Las Vegas online sports betting and casino play. Getting all your favorite teams, players, and sports, from boosted parlays to live in-game odds on every major sport. They have what you need to win. Sign up today and use promo code XSWC1. And after placing your first $100 wager, you'll receive $100 to bet with. There's also a $50 casino bonus for those in New Jersey and Michigan as a first-time player. Again, promo code is XSWC1. Offer subject to change, terms and conditions at WynnBET.com. Must be 21 to participate. Only available in Arizona, Colorado, Indiana, Louisiana, Michigan, New York, New Jersey, Tennessee, and Virginia. Damn it, I fucked up Louisiana, and it messed me up the rest of the way. Well, listen, I think this was a tremendous podcast. What I want to end with is some WynnBET odds. I got to bring it up. I can bring it up on my phone because my phone, for some reason, just stops recording nowadays. And I delete things, too. You know how we had that issue.
Right.
So I don't really know exactly what's going on. The only thing that I don't sometimes that frustrates me is that they oftentimes think I'm in New York. I'm not in New York.
We're so close.
I know we are. Like, I can see it. So I understand why you guys think I'm in New York. But I'm not. So there's that.
I got it pulled up here.
I got some WynnBET games on me as well. Let's talk. What do you want to talk? Want to go Major League Baseball? Let's each take a pick of what we want to do, what we're going to put money on this week, and go from there.
Okay.
Well, I'm gonna take the lead here. I'm gonna put money on West Virginia University.
That's all I was gonna say.
I'm scrolling to see their odds.
Oh
I don't see they're playing Kansas. Do they even have odds?
Yeah, I saw on ESPN it was 13.5.
13.5. Typically they're pretty universal across the.
At least close.
Yeah, and ESPN is not a gambling company. They must be using someone. I don't know who they're using, but we obviously cannot mention them on this pod unless they are WynnBET. So let's pretend like they use WynnBET. Why can't?
Yeah, here you go. I got it. West Virginia, Kansas, 13.5.
13.5. There we go. Okay, Saturday 6 p.m. 13.5. We both want to take this game, so let's do it, Sean. Let's do it. West Virginia is getting 13.5 points. The money line is minus 550, so they're definitely expected to win.
Yes.
It looks like the most value here would be either the spread or the over/under at 60 points.
I like the spread there. West Virginia, I think first night home game in 3 years in Morgantown. They're going to be focused. They're not like coming off the high of winning against Pitt. They're definitely going to feel the need to win this game, and I think we're going to see I see a nice strong win here over the 13.5 number.
Yeah, listen. I think so too. I think West Virginia is fantastic. I want to talk about one more game. So I really like the way West Virginia played against Pittsburgh, so I'm certainly in on them.
Yeah,
and I think they're going to handle Kansas. Well, interestingly enough, they have this team called Kansas City on WynnBET.com. Got to change that. It's not Kansas. They're certainly not playing Kansas City. But regardless of that, the other game I want to talk about, and a game that I've highlighted for this year, and I believe, if I'm not mistaken, Sean, it is the game of the week. Alabama, Texas. Are they not going down there? Is the college game day going down
college
there?
game day is going to Austin.
Okay.
So
that's what we should do this year. Let's end each podcast with West Virginia and the college game day game.
Okay.
I like that. Something small. We don't need to do anything crazy. And we got Texas or Alabama as a 19.5 point favorite. What do we have on Texas here? Are they supposed to be good, Sean?
They're one of those teams that every year they get a little hype. Let's see who they beat the first week. They're 1-0. They played University of Louisiana Monroe, beat them 52-10. That's a good win. They always get good recruits. They haven't been good in a while. They're going to face the buzzsaw, 20-point underdog. They're going to lose. I don't know about 20 though.
Here's my concern, Sean.
What?
They're going to lose, right?
Yeah.
But the over/under is 65. And they're 20-point underdogs, which means that they believe that Alabama is probably going to score more than 40 points against this Texas team.
Well, I think that's a real thing. I think that it's totally possible. Texas is probably not going to bring a strong defense to the table, and Alabama's returning a Heisman quarterback, and Texas is starting a brand new quarterback. The Heisman guy. I mean, did you see his statistics last week?
No, what were they? Sean?
I mentioned them to you. I know I did. Because they were
you
first.
You mentioned them during the game, though. I didn't think I heard final.
Well, that's because he stopped playing after halftime. So by halftime, his statistics were 18 of 28, 195. This is Bryce Young, last year's Heisman winner. 18 of 28, 195 yards, 5 touchdowns. Halftime. Oh, what's that, you ask? Did he decide to run the ball at all? Oh, you bet your ass he decided to run, to the tune of 5 carries, 100 yards, and another touchdown. Halftime. So that's 300 yards of total offense and 6 tutties by halftime. I'm so sorry, Longhorns, but it's going to be horns way down this week. You're running into an absolute juggernaut right now.
Yeah. I mean, I think there is no real value here for you sports gamblers out there. As I learn more value, there is no real value out here right now for this game. Texas is not. I don't think is going to cover. Although, I mean, they just don't have the defense. And what you're hoping for is they have the offense to keep up with Alabama, but Alabama's defense, I'm sure, is spectacular.
Oh, they are.
I mean, your best bet here is that Texas. You put money on Texas, because there's no real point in putting in your money on Alabama at minus 1,500.
I'm putting my money on Alabama to cover the spread. That's what I'm putting.
Of course, but there's no real value in it. And you know what I'm saying? You're not going to win any money.
It's just. Here's the thing, though. It's going to happen.
Yes, but so your thing is if you throw $100 on Texas, in my understanding, the way gambling works is that you get $850 in return, so you get $950.
Yeah.
In return, not a bad, and hope that they don't lose by 20.
Yeah. Let me throw out a couple just other random notes from around college football that are interesting. One that really caught my eye this morning is the Hawaii Rainbow Warriors are traveling to Ann Arbor to face Michigan at 8 p.m. Big Ten Network. I don't know that I've ever seen this before. Michigan is a 51-point favorite.
That is a very large spread.
Yes, their money line is minus 50,000.
Oh my goodness.
Hawaii is atrocious, but that is something special. I also thought it was interesting.
So wait, hold on. Before you move on to that, Sean,
Okay.
let's talk about that. So if you put your money on Hawaii to cover that spread, if you put $100, you get $2,500.
Worth it. That's worth it.
Right?
That's a good
flyer.
Pick. That's a good
To
pick.
lose by 51 is a ton of points.
Michigan's still in a quarterback battle, and
they're going to pull their guys.
They're going to pull their guys. They're probably going to play both quarterbacks. Let them mess around.
That's a fun game to put some money on.
Yeah,
I might throw $100 on Hawaii.
That actually is a fun one. A primetime game too.
Yeah, I might throw Hawaii on the cover.
That's Team Rainbow Warriors here this week.
Let's go Hawaii.
That is, WynnBET should thank us for that. That's a good one.
That's a good one.
All of a sudden, all these bets are pouring in for Hawaii. Other things I thought were interesting, probably not bet worthy, but Florida unranked last week. They beat number 7. They jumped to number 12. They're going to take on number 20 ranked University of Kentucky at home again this week. I thought that was pretty interesting.
Kentucky's plus 180. And a 5.5 point spread, very close game predicted, and 51 points in over under. So,
and the last note, they interviewed Jimbo Fisher down in Texas A&M last night or a couple days ago, and they asked him, he's a born and bred West Virginia guy. They asked him, would he ever go home and coach for the Mountaineers? And Jimbo Fisher said, "I love where I'm at, but home is always home. You never say never."
Well, listen. Who asked him?
It was Texas A&M Media.
Okay, so Texas A&M Media. So that's at least good because I like Leo Brown right now, although I don't love some of his play calls.
And he's got a long contract. Got a long contract, but if it was a West Virginia media member, that would be I would be a little pissed. Yeah.
I lost game 1, and everyone's asking for Jimbo Fisher to come back. So. Yeah, I would. You know what? I would like Jimbo Fisher. I don't really want him as our coach. He's old. He's probably moving on.
He's like 56.
I want Jimbo Fisher back immediately. But it would be cool. I almost kind of want him in like an advisory role to
I'd
help.
like him in the head coach role. That'd be nice.
Yeah, I would like him in the head coach role too. That'd be pretty cool. He's Florida State, right?
No, he's Texas A&M now.
Oh, Texas A&M. He isn't old. You're right. God, that'd be cool.
Noteworthy.
Certainly noteworthy. But is his contract coming to an end in Texas A&M?
No, you got like a 10-year.
Oh, so he is the long contract.
Hundreds of mils. He's going to have to take a discount unless people start really betting with WynnBET here.
Oh man! All right. Well, that's good. That's a good little thing, guys. You know what? That segment. You betcha. Brought to you by WynnBET. Betting is a team sport. Join Sean and me, the WynnBET team, and bet with the best. They've got your ticket to every straight bet, parlay, teaser, and props wager all right at your fingertips. The WynnBET is easy to use. WynnBET app is easy to use, so play with the most trusted brand in the industry. Sign up today and use promo code XSWC1 and put your money on Hawaii. Place your first $100 wager, which me and Sean will be putting on Hawaii this weekend. You'll receive $100 to bet with. There is a $50 casino bonus for those in New Jersey and Michigan. Again, use promo code XSWC1. Offer subject to terms and conditions at WynnBET.com. It's 21 participate. Only available in Arizona, Colorado, Indiana, Louisiana, Michigan, New York, New Jersey, Tennessee, and Virginia. That was a good round too. Good day for ad reads for me. Hey, what do they call the
Rainbow Warriors?
The Rainbow Warriors. Listen, that's the name of the podcast this week. Go Rainbow Warriors. I don't know the symbol for them, but we are our team Hawaii. Let's see if we can be $2,500 richer at the end of this weekend.
I literally might do this.
I'm 100% in. 100% in. $100 on Hawaii. Take it to the bet. I will send a screenshot on my Instagram story that this is happening, and I'm going to put a TikTok up. $100 on the Rainbow Warriors to win 2,500 smackers.
I'm doing it.
I'm in. All right, guys. Until next time, we will see you next week. And we're going to continue this type of format of the podcast. I love the stories today, so we're going to continue to do this. I think it's the best way to do it. So until next week, guys, I will see you. I'll sign off like I did in my first ever podcast for Sorry We're Closed. I will see you at the bar. That is why Sean doesn't go to the bar.
I don't know if I'm going to do that. That is so...
Sorry, we're closed.